Hey, coin enthusiasts, you're not going to believe what I stumbled upon the other day. I was browsing through a box of old change, just like I've done 1,000 times before, and I found something that made my jaw drop. I'm talking about a 1960 D Lincoln penny. Now, before you say, "Eft, that's just a penny," let me tell you, this little guy is worth way more than your average penny. We're talking about $2.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. Penny worth millions. And it's not some random fluke either, there's a real market for these things. Today, I'm going to show you how to spot one of these rare coins and explain why they're so valuable. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just have a small fortune in your pocket, or at least the knowledge to start hunting for it. What makes the 1960 D Lincoln penny worth a whopping $2.6 million? First, let me give you a bit of background. In 1960, the U.S. Mint produced a ton of pennies, as you can imagine. There were two different types of pennies that year: the regular 1960 pennies with no mint mark and the 1960 D pennies, which have a D mint mark indicating they were made in Denver. The D mint mark ones were supposed to be more common. But here's the thing, in 1960 there was a major minting error that happened at the Denver Mint. Now, stick with me here. Most of the 1960 D pennies were minted just fine. Nothing weird going on there. But, and this is where it gets good, a small number of 1960 D pennies were struck with the wrong dies. Instead of the usual design, the die used for some of these coins was for the 1959 penny. These pennies ended up with the reverse design of the 1959 Lincoln cent, which features the wheat stalks instead of the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Mint errors like this are what make coins so valuable. Why? Because these are rare. The general public wasn't looking for oddball coins back then. Nobody thought a mistake penny would be worth millions. So they were spent, collected, or tossed aside like any other penny. But now, collectors and investors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare finds. This is a coin that slipped through the cracks, and now it's being treated like the gold mine it really is. So, if you have a 1960 D penny in your collection, you're going to want to give it a good, hard look. Here's how you can tell if it's the real deal. First, the key feature is that 1959 reverse. The reverse side of the 1960 D penny will have wheat stalks, not the Lincoln Memorial. If you spot that, congratulations, you could be sitting on a small fortune. But remember, not all 1960 D pennies with the wheat reverse are worth millions. It has to meet a certain level of quality and condition to reach the $2.6 million price tag. Now, you might be wondering, how the heck do I even know what condition my coin is in? Well, let me tell you, that's another key factor. The value of a coin isn't just about rarity. It's also about its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin that's in mint condition, with hardly any signs of wear, can fetch way more than one that's been through the ringer. So, if your 1960 D penny looks like it was used as a chew toy for a dog, it's probably not going to fetch the big bucks. But if it's shiny, with crisp details and no major damage, you might be in for a treat. I remember when I first got serious about collecting coins, probably about 10 years ago, and I thought I had the next big thing in my hands. I found a 1943 steel penny, and I was convinced I'd stumbled onto a gold mine. I was so excited, I went straight to my local coin shop. The dealer took one look at it, chuckled a little, and said, "Nice try, kid, but that's just a regular one." Turns out, most of those 1943 steel pennies are fairly common, so they don't fetch nearly as much as I thought. But hey, it was a good learning experience, and it taught me the importance of knowing exactly what I'm looking for. So, remember, it's not just about finding a coin, it's about understanding which coins are worth the big bucks. If you're hunting for this rare 1960 D penny, be patient. It might take a while to find one in decent condition. And don't be discouraged if you don't hit the jackpot right away. Coin collecting is all about the hunt, and you never know what you might discover. Plus, the thrill of finding something valuable makes the entire journey that much more rewarding. If you find a 1960 D Lincoln penny with that beautiful wheat reverse, hold on to it. could be worth millions. But don't just take my word for it. Get out there, start looking through your change, and see what you've got. Coin collecting isn't just about holding on to old money. It's about finding those hidden treasures that are just waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins worth big money or get tips on collecting strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more content coming your way that'll help you turn your coin collection into a valuable asset. And hey, if you find that 1960 D penny and it turns out to be worth a fortune, don't forget who helped you find it. Share your success story in the comments. I love hearing about your discoveries. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket or old jar of loose change. Yes, I'm talking about the 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth millions? That's a bit much. Well, buckle up, because this little copper coin is making big waves in the world of rare coin collecting, and it could make you a lot of money if you find the right one. But before you start rummaging through every old penny you can get your hands on, let me break down why this specific penny is worth a jaw-dropping $2.70 million. So why is a humble penny, something we typically toss aside, suddenly worth more than most people's cars or even homes? Trust me, this is a story that'll have you looking at your change jar a lot differently. Stay with me until the end and I'll show you how you can spot one of these rare gems. And yes, you'll want to subscribe for more money-making coin tips, because who doesn't want to find a rare coin worth millions, right? First off, let's set the stage. The 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, what's the big deal with it? Well, if you're like most people, you probably don't think twice about pennies. They're the small stuff we don't care about, right? A penny's a penny and we toss M in the jar and forget about it. But that's where you'd be wrong, my friend. The 2014 penny isn't just any regular penny. See, most pennies minted in the United States come with a mint mark that indicates where they were produced. We've got the D mint mark for Denver, the S mint mark for San Francisco, and of course, the P for Philadelphia. But for the 2014 penny, something crazy happened. A few of them were accidentally struck without any mint mark at all, making them extraordinarily rare. You're standing in front of a vending machine, you drop in your dollar bill, and out pops a penny. You grab it, stick it in your pocket with the rest of the change, and head out to get your coffee. Little do you know that penny could be worth a couple of $1 million. It's like finding a treasure in the least likely place. It's kind of like the time I found a $5 bill stuck in the lining of an old jacket I hadn't worn in years. I thought, well, hey, free $5. But then imagine pulling out a coin worth millions from a forgotten corner of your couch. That's what makes this story so wild. So why is this 2014 no-mint mark penny worth so much? Well, here's the deal. Out of the billions of pennies that were made in 2014, only a small handful were struck without the mint mark. And when you talk about rare coins, scarcity is king. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become. Add in the fact that this particular error wasn't something the mint planned, well, now we've got a recipe for a multi-million-dollar coin, and just like that, you're sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. But of course, finding one of these elusive pennies isn't as simple as just picking up a handful of change. No, my friend, you need to know how to spot them. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these bad boys? Great question. You'll need to look at the penny and check for a few things. First off, remember, it's got to be from the 2014 series. You don't want to confuse this with other years. The key giveaway? A lack of any mint mark. No D or S next to Lincoln's portrait. If the penny's minted in Philadelphia and it's missing that mint mark, you've got yourself a jackpot in your hand. But don't just take my word for it. Get yourself a magnifying glass and start examining that coin like it's the most important thing you've ever seen. That little detail could change your life. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Once you've spotted one of these rare gems, it's time to check the condition. Condition plays a huge role in how much a coin is worth. A penny with a bit of wear and tear won't be fetching nearly as much as a mint-condition beauty. And if yours is shiny and almost flawless? Well, you might be looking at the top end of that $2.7 million value. To give you some perspective, let's say you find one in near-perfect condition. These coins have been sold for huge amounts at auctions and are considered to be among the most valuable errors in modern coinage. So if you find one, you might just be holding a ticket to a small fortune. But hey, if you don't want to go auction hunting and want to sell it to someone who specializes in rare coins, don't just go to the first coin shop you see. You need to make sure you're getting the best deal. Check out auction houses, get it appraised by a professional, and learn more about coin grading. Trust me, you'll want to know how to protect your treasure and get the best price. Now, let me share a little personal story with you. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my late grandfather's attic. He had boxes of old junk that he just couldn't let go of. It was a mess, old tools, dusty furniture, and yes, lots of change. But I remember there was this one box that was filled with what seemed like just loose pennies. I didn't think much of it at the time, but something in me said I pulled out a few just to see if there were any old coins or ones that might be worth something. And guess what? Among the random piles of pennies, there was a 1943 steel penny, a coin that's worth a solid few $100. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't millions like the 2014 no-mint mark penny, but it was still enough to make me think, why didn't I start checking for valuable coins sooner? That moment really opened my eyes to how many hidden treasures are out there in the world of coins. If I hadn't taken that extra step to sift through my grandfather's junk, I would have missed out on something worth money. It just goes to show, sometimes treasure is right under your nose, you just need to know how to spot it. The next time you find yourself with some change in your pocket, take a second to look at those pennies, especially if they're from 2014. That little copper coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. And hey, if you happen to find one of these rare pennies, don't forget to come back here and let me know. I want to hear all about your coin adventures. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and strategies on how to find coins worth money. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next treasure hunt. Who knows? Maybe next time we'll be talking about your coin that's worth millions. Hey there, coin lovers. You ever stop and think about how many pennies you've lost over the years? In between the couch cushions, at the bottom of your car, or maybe just forgotten under a pile of old receipts? Well, today we're talking about one penny that could have been hiding under your couch or buried in your spare change jar, and it's worth an insane $2.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. The 1994 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's flown under the radar for years, but when you get your hands on one, it's like winning the lottery. Stick around because in this video, we're diving into why this little penny is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you can find it in your collection or maybe even at a local coin shop. You won't believe the story behind it, and by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for if you want to find the next big coin jackpot. Alright, so let's start with the basics. We all know pennies, right? They're the little copper coins that we usually just toss around or leave behind when we're counting change. But what makes a 1994 no-mint mark penny so valuable? Why is it worth $2.8 million? Well, here's where it gets interesting. First off, let's talk about the no-mint mark part. Most pennies, like any coin really, have a mint mark. That little letter on the coin tells you where it was made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But for the 1994 penny, something odd happened. The mint accidentally forgot to stamp the D on the coin, indicating that it was made in Denver. This little mistake is what caused the coin to skyrocket in value. You see, there are only a handful of these errors floating around in the world, making them incredibly rare. And as the saying goes, rare means valuable. Now, let me hit you with some real talk. Back when I first got into coin collecting, I used to think that any penny I found on the ground was worth its face value. I'm talking about a penny here, people. My whole idea of value was completely skewed. But I've since learned that in the world of coin collecting, that same worthless penny could actually be the key to something huge. Let me give you a personal story. I remember hunting through a box of change that I had collected over the years. It was just a pile of random coins I didn't care much about, but one day I decided to go through them just to pass the time. I pulled out a few pennies and one of them just looked different. The edges were sharper, the details were more defined, and something about it just didn't feel like the usual run-of-the-mill penny. Turns out I was holding on to a rare 1969 double-die penny worth thousands. Now, I'm not saying you'll always find a gold mine, but the point is it pays off to take a closer look at your coins, especially ones that might seem ordinary at first glance. Let's get back to the 1994 no-mint mark penny. Since this coin was produced in Philadelphia, it was meant to have the P mint mark, but for some reason they missed it entirely. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these coins? Great question. The most important thing to do is check the year on the coin first. Then you'll want to look at the back of the penny. If there's no mint mark near the bottom, bingo, you could be sitting on a very valuable coin. These coins are extremely rare, and because of their scarcity, collectors are willing to pay big money for them. But hold up, don't start digging through your change jar just yet. Finding a 1994 no mint mark penny isn't as simple as picking up a random penny and hoping for the best. You've got to be a little strategic about it. The first thing you need to do is look at the condition of the coin. You've probably heard the term mint condition before, right? Well, the closer to mint condition the coin is, the higher its value will be. If your 1994 penny is worn out or heavily damaged, it's not going to fetch that $2.8 million price tag, unfortunately. Coins in mint condition, meaning no noticeable wear and tear, will get you top dollar. But hey, even coins in decent condition can fetch a good amount. We're talking a couple $100 to a few thousand for those. Now, don't just rely on looking through your old change and hoping for the best. You can also look for these coins at coin shops, estate sales, and even auctions. Sometimes you can pick up these rare pennies at a decent price if you know what you're doing. Trust me, having a trained eye when you're browsing coins can make a huge difference. It's all about spotting those subtle but important details that separate the valuable coins from the rest of the pack. You've probably heard that the world of coin collecting can be pretty competitive, and in a way, it is. There are dedicated collectors out there who've spent years searching for these rare coins, but don't let that intimidate you. You've got to jump in and learn the ropes. Start by doing your research, following coin forums, and watching videos like this one. There's a lot of knowledge out there, and the more you learn, the better your chances are of finding a hidden treasure. Alright, so now you know about the 1994 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of history with a huge value. It's proof that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most unassuming coins can be worth more than you ever imagined. So, before you toss that penny into your change jar, take a closer look. It could be worth a fortune, and hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you a fortune, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping tips, strategies, and stories about rare coins, coin collecting, and how you can start your own collection that could one day be worth a small fortune. Trust me, it's easier than you think, and who knows, the next coin you find could be your ticket to the big time. Grab your magnifying glass, get to searching, and let's see what kind of treasure you can uncover. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey folks, grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and get ready to flip through your change jar, because today we're diving into a story that's going to make you look at pennies in a whole new way. That's right, we're talking about a tiny little copper coin that could make you a millionaire overnight. And I'm not joking. You're at the gas station, you drop a penny, you shrug and say it's just a penny. Well, what if I told you that penny could have been worth $2.9 million? Yep, a single 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is turning heads in the coin world. This thing is hotter than a jalapeno in July. Now, before you start tearing apart your couch cushions, hang tight. We're going to walk through exactly what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are practically foaming at the mouth to get their hands on it. And stick around, because I'm going to tell you about the time I accidentally spent a coin that was worth way more than I realized. Spoiler alert, I cried over a taco. Let's get into it. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1976 penny is just your regular OL Lincoln cent, right? It's got Abe Lincoln facing right on the obverse, just like usual, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But there's something sneaky about some of these pennies from 1976, and it all comes down to that mysterious lack of a mint mark. Normally, if a penny was minted in Philadelphia in 1976, it wouldn't have a mint mark, which is totally normal. But here's the kicker, a small batch of these no mint mark pennies had some very strange and rare features that made them worth a fortune. First of all, the coin was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the usual copper-coated zinc that started being used around 1982. That might not sound like much, but when you're talking coin collecting, the material matters big time, and then there's the condition. The million-dollar versions of this penny are in near-perfect shape. We're talking mint state 67 or higher. That's like having a vintage Corvette with zero scratches and the new car smell still inside. Well, we're talking maybe a handful in that condition and even fewer with the right combination of errors or strike anomalies. The $2.9 million one sold at a private auction to a collector who probably sleeps with it under his pillow, but don't let that discourage you. The fun part is these coins are still out there. They weren't made in a special minting ceremony with fireworks and marching bands. These were regular circulation pennies. Meaning, yes, it is totally possible one slipped through the cracks and landed in someone's jar, drawer, or that weird little spot between your car seat and the console. And now, for that little tale I promised you, picture this. I'm at a taco truck. The kind where they know your name and your order, right? I pay in cash, dig out a few coins from my pocket, hand them over, and chomp down on the best carnitas taco I've ever had. I get home, empty out my pockets, and realize one of the pennies I'd been carrying around had the rare die crack pattern I'd read about on a 1972 penny that could have fetched thousands. I went back to the truck. I asked the guy behind the counter if I could see his tip jar. He looked at me like I'd just escaped from a local asylum. So yeah, that taco cost me about $3,000. If it's the bronze version, it should weigh about 3.11 grams. Most modern pennies weigh less because they're mostly zinc. A deep reddish-brown can be a good sign, especially in high-grade examples. Look for crisp details in Lincoln's hair, coat, and the Lincoln Memorial. No major scratches, dents, or green gunk. The closer to mint state, the better. This is where it gets juicy. Things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks can increase the value big time. If you've got one that checks all the boxes, it's time to get it graded. PCGS and NGC are the big dogs in the grading world. Don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best. You could be sitting on a gold mine, or in this case, a copper mine. The no-mint Mark Lincoln penny from that year might seem ordinary, but hidden among the billions are a few that could change your life. And while the chances of finding the $2.9 million jackpot are slim, they aren't zero. That's what makes the hunt so exciting. So check your jars, go through that drawer in the kitchen, inspect every coin your kid brings home from school, heck, start tipping with nickels just to get more pennies back. Hit that subscribe button. If you're into coins, collecting, and money-making tips that are actually fun, you're in the right place. I've got more stories, more strategies, and more laughs coming your way. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next coin that could pay off your mortgage. Or at the very least, buy you a lifetime supply of tacos. Hey, coin hunters and penny pinchers. Let me ask you something real quick. What if I told you that the tiny copper penny in your change jar could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your entire neighborhood? I'm talking about the 2002 D. Lincoln penny that recently made jaws drop with a staggering value of $3 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $3 million. For one little coin most people overlook. Now before you go flipping your couch cushions or knocking over your coin jar, stick with me. Because in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this insanely valuable penny. We're talking about how to identify it, what makes it rare, the juicy details of its discovery, and most importantly, how you might have one without even knowing it. And to make things a bit more fun, I'll share a personal story involving a coin mix-up, a confused gas station clerk, and one very lucky trip to the bank. Trust me, it's worth the ride. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into this copper-colored jackpot. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 2002 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Minted in Denver, Colorado, hence the D mint mark. Now normally, 2002 D pennies are worth exactly what they say, 1 cent. But there's a very specific version of this coin that's now valued at a mind-blowing $3 million. First off, we've got to talk about mint errors. This particular 2002 D penny is what experts call a double die obverse. That means during the minting process, the die that stamps the coin got misaligned or impressed twice, causing Lincoln's image and some of the lettering to appear doubled. Now that might sound like a mistake, and it is, but collectors love this kind of mistake. It's like finding a factory-sealed VHS of Star Wars from 1977. Rare and weird in the best way. Not only is this coin a double die, but it's also made from the wrong planchet. A planchet is just the blank metal disc used to make the coin. Instead of using the usual copper-plated zinc for pennies, this rogue 2002 D was stamped on a bronze planchet that hadn't been used since 1982. Basically, the mint reached back 20 years by accident. Now combine the double die error, the wrong metal composition, and the fact that only one confirmed coin like this has ever surfaced, and you've got yourself the holy grail of modern pennies. It's like finding Bigfoot wearing Air Jordans while holding a winning lottery ticket. Yeah, it's that rare. A couple of years ago, I was doing my usual Sunday routine, laundry, cleaning out the junk drawer, the stuff we all pretend we love doing. I stumbled across this old peanut butter jar full of coins I'd been tossing change into for years. I thought, why not go through it? Maybe there's a wheat penny or something cool. I start sorting, heads up, tails up, pennies, nickels, you name it. I didn't expect to find anything special. But then I came across a shiny little Lincoln penny with the year 2002. I flip it, see the D mint mark, and my brain lights up like a Christmas tree. Now this is where things get funny. I got so excited that I ran to the local gas station and asked the poor clerk if he could take a look at it under their little scratch ticket scanner. He looked at me like I just escaped from a coin convention. I said, this could be worth millions. He said, sir, this is a 7-Eleven, not Sotheby's. Long story short, it wasn't the $1 million penny. But that moment sparked a passion in me. I started learning everything I could about valuable coins. And that's how I ended up here, talking to you fine folks. So back to the 2002 D. If you're now wondering how to check your pennies, here's what to look for. Check Lincoln's eye, his bow tie, and the word liberty. If you see ghosting or a double image, that's promising. The error coin has a slightly different tone, more reddish bronze-like. And if you weigh it, it should come out heavier than usual, 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5. If you're not sure, take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. Trust me, spending a few bucks on an appraisal is worth it if you're sitting on a small fortune. Let's zoom out for a minute and talk about why coins like this matter. Most people think old coins are where the value is. And yeah, a 1909 SVB penny is amazing. But modern coins with rare mint errors? That's the new frontier. Because there are fewer of them and collectors are hungry for unique stories, and the 2002 D Lincoln penny checks all those boxes. It's modern, rare, visually unique, and it's already making headlines. This particular coin made its way into an auction house where it stunned collectors and got scooped up for $3 million by a private investor who probably used it as a paperweight on a solid gold desk. Now some of you are probably thinking, come on, what are the odds? And I get it. The odds are crazy. But let me ask you this, have you ever bought a lottery ticket? At least with coins, you're not throwing your money away. You're saving change, paying attention, and maybe, just maybe, striking it rich, and that's the beauty of it. Coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about history, curiosity, and the thrill of discovery. It's about noticing what others ignore and turning a common object into a conversation piece or a $1 million payday. All right, folks, let's bring this train into the station. We've covered a lot in the last 50 minutes. You now know that the 2002 D Lincoln penny, a coin you might already have, could be worth $3 million if it's got the right combination of errors. You've learned how to spot it, why it's valuable. And you even heard about my ridiculous trip to a gas station with a coin in hand and dreams in my eyes. Go check your coin jars, your glove box, your drawers. Ask your grandma if she's got any change from the early 2000s lying around. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. If you laughed, learned something new, or even paused to inspect your spare change, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Give that like a little love tap. And share this video with someone who always leaves pennies behind at the self-checkout, because here on this channel, we're not just saving change, we're discovering treasure. I've got loads more videos coming your way on coins worth big money, coin collecting strategies, and how to spot winners like a pro. Hey there, my fellow coin hunters and pocket change detectives. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever flipped a penny and thought to yourself, man, I wish this rusty little guy was worth $1 million? Well, buckle up, because today I'm going to tell you about a 1976 D Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $3.1 million. That's right, folks. One little cent, the kind you probably toss in your car's cup holder, could be worth more than a mansion, a Lamborghini, and a lifetime supply of pizza combined. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, man. A penny from the 70s? I've got a whole jar full of those. Trust me, I thought the same thing until I found out what makes this one so special. And don't worry, I'm gonna break it all down for you. We're talking mint marks, errors, metal composition, and how this little copper coin turned into a millionaire. But first, let me take you back to a little moment in my own life. I was cleaning out my grandpa's old fishing tackle box one summer, not because I fish, but because I lost a bet and had to clean his garage. Inside one of the dusty drawers, I found an old baby food jar filled with coins. You know the type, sticky with 30-year-old gum wrappers and smelling like motor oil. I started flipping through it and saw a bunch of Lincoln pennies. One of them was from 1976. My heart did a little somersault. I thought, what if? Just what if? Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't the $1 million one. But it did send me down this rabbit hole that led me here. And now, I'm gonna help you figure out if you've got a gold mine in your coin jar. Alright, first things first. Let's talk about the basics. The 1976 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That's what the D stands for. It was a big year for coin production, with millions of pennies flooding the streets. But only one known 1976 D penny has been confirmed to be worth $3.1 million. Why? Because it's not just any old penny. This thing is a unicorn in the world of coin collecting. Experts believe it was a mint error, a freak accident, really. It was struck on a 95% copper planchet with some kind of double die obverse. That's coin geek speak for saying the front of the coin with Lincoln's face was struck twice but just slightly off. That causes some lettering like Liberty or the date to look blurry or shadowed. And it's not just about the double strike. It also has an off-center minting, near-perfect condition, and possibly a unique composition. Some suspect it might have traces of silver or nickel that weren't supposed to be there. Imagine a coin having a little identity crisis. Is it a penny? Or is it a dime in disguise? Now toss in the fact that it's graded MS-67 by a top grading company, and boom. You've got a coin that checks every box on the rare and valuable scale. There's only one like it, and the buyer who paid $3.1 million wanted to own the holy grail of Lincoln cents. Now before you run off to your sock drawer to dig through your spare change, let's get real about the average 1976 D penny. Most of them are worth exactly what you think they're worth, 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But if you find one that's in mint state condition, meaning it looks shiny, new, and hasn't been passed around like a hot potato, you could get around 50 cents to a few bucks from a collector. Hey, that's still a return on investment. But what you really want to look for are the oddballs. The freaks. The ones with misaligned dies, off-center strikes, doubled lettering, or struck on the wrong metal. Those are the golden tickets. Check the date and the word Liberty. If they look fuzzy, like they've got a shadow, that's a good sign. If Lincoln looks like he's trying to sneak off the edge of the coin, that's a potential jackpot. This one's tricky, but if your penny looks or feels different, maybe it's heavier, lighter, or the wrong color, you might have something special. Even without errors, a coin that's shiny, untouched, and graded highly by PCGS or NGC could be worth good money. You don't need a magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes, but it helps. And for goodness sake, don't clean your coins. I don't care if it's covered in ketchup and cat hair. Cleaning a coin destroys its value faster than I can say, numismatics. Strong. And I mean really strong. With gold and silver prices doing their usual dance and collectors going nuts for unique pieces, rare coins are hotter than ever. The demand for unique Lincoln cents is growing, especially ones from the 70s with known errors. People are paying attention to coins like they never have before. TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, everyone's getting into coin collecting. It's like the new Pokemon cards for grown-ups. But unlike your Charizard card, your penny could buy you a boat. So there you have it, my friends. One little 1976 D Lincoln penny that turned heads and bank accounts with a $3.1 million sale. And it all comes down to a rare error, perfect condition, and a whole lot of luck. Now, I know not everyone's going to find a millionaire coin in their couch cushions, but here's the thing, you never know until you look. And that's what makes this hobby so dang fun. It's like treasure hunting, but you don't have to deal with pirates or maps or getting sand in your shoes. Before you go digging through your penny jar or calling up your grandma to raid her change purse, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, stories, and strategies to help you spot valuable coins, avoid fakes, and maybe, just maybe, find the next $1,000,000 penny. And hey, if you've got a good coin story or found something weird in your change, drop it in the comments. I love reading them, and who knows, your story could be the topic of the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay curious, stay lucky, and always check your change. You never know what kind of history or fortune is sitting right there in your pocket.